Greetings, everybody. Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you're watching from. I always think like 6 p.m. Eastern is like evening here, but I know there's providers watching us from all over the country and some from other countries as well. So greetings, everyone. This probably has been the fastest incoming group that we've had, but it is such a hot topic. Today we are joined by Nekea Whitson. Hi, Nekea, how are you?
How's everyone doing? I hope everyone's having a great day. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Yes, I agree. I hope everybody is having a great day. If you guys don't know, I'm in Philadelphia. Today it was kind of rainy for about an hour, but I hope you guys all had sunshine. What I would love to know is where you are watching from. So I always like to ask for all of our attendees, once you sign in, go ahead and click on that chat button and put in the chat where you're watching from. Before we get started. I see someone's watching from New York. I see Philly, Georgia, Houston, Baltimore. So we're all over the country, Nekea. How do you feel about that?
I'm from there, and right now I'm currently in Florida, so we got the sun over here shining.
I'm just about to ask you that. I see that it looks like you're on vacation all the time.
A house in Florida as well, so now I'm in New York and Florida. You know, I have the business in New York, and then I'm in Florida.
Okay, so you bought a house in Florida. Nice, congratulations. Are you native to New York? Were you born there, or are you more so like raised in Florida?
I was born in Boston, but 1 year old, my mother moved to New York City. So I've been there all the way, basically all my life. I just moved to Florida in August of 2021. 2020. So I just moved to Florida.
Wow.
But I live
Nice, nice. I thought that growing up, my dream was always to like go to, I think it was University of Central Florida. That's what I thought I was going to do when I went to college. And I wanted to move to Florida to like live there permanently. I can't imagine doing that now. And being that far away from my family. The majority of my family lives in New York in like in close quarters. So
me too. It was actually a good thing that I left New York, because I'm always, as childcare leaders, we all know we always in the business. So the closer I am to the center, I want to be there every day. By me moving, it forced me to let the girls handle the business and work on the business instead of in the business.
yes, I'm so glad that you brought that up. I don't know if you know this about me, but I have the same feelings. In June of 2019, I actually moved from New York to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania for pretty much that same reason. I was working so many hours outside of normal business hours inside my business because I was so close. I was 10 minutes away from my center, and we had a lot of work that needed to be done when I was there during the hours of operations. People needed so much from me all the time that I couldn't really focus on like marketing or growth strategies or anything like that at all. So I was there until like midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning, sitting in my daycare center, developing like the business plans and our projections and upcoming projects and things like that. So moving to Philly has really helped me create that boundary, and I only visit like 2 or 3 times a month, and it's great.
I go there for 1 week and that's it. I check everything and then I'm back on working on the business instead of in it. So it's been pretty good.
It's great to have that freedom. Is your centers like located in the 5 boroughs of New York City, or is it somewhere in New York State?
Bronx. Both of them was in the Bronx. I just closed one of them. So the other one is like bigger. So I moved everyone over to that one. And we're right across the street from the Bronx Zoo. So it's pretty a good location, a nice area, and it's pretty good. Doing pretty good.
familiar with the DOE's pre-K for all? Like, do you have contracts with the DOE?
Had it in my first center. Now they have a COVID one that they're doing it rapidly. So I just applied for that one. So most likely we will receive that one as well.
Oh, nice. Okay. All right. Well, I just want to highlight that Janielle Axel, I hope I'm saying your name right. Please correct me on the pronunciation, Miss Axel. She says she's got snow today. I'm really sorry about that. I can't imagine having snow in April. Where are you located, Janielle? Put it in the chat for us. But can we get started, Nekea, with you telling us a little about yourself, where what you do now, how you help childcare providers?
Absolutely. So as you guys already heard, I have a center in New York City. So I've been in the childcare industry for over 10 years. I opened it in the Bronx. I opened a small one, and then I now have a large facility. And now I currently, because I moved out of New York, I'm able to work on the business and actually work in my new business that I have. We had about 2 years. I have my partner here with me, Melissa. Melissa, you can say hi real quick.
I was everyone. Introduce Melissa. Hi, Melissa.
A lot of people have spoken to Melissa if you guys signed up through my link. But basically what we do is that we help childcare increase their revenues through tax strategies and business credit, and now loans and grants. So that's what we've been focusing on now that I do have the time to focus. And I just been just trying our best to just get everyone funded. Right now we got over probably 300,000 in funding for PPP for the childcare industry alone. So we've been really like just towards that right now, just trying to help the community, help our childcare leaders.
That's awesome. It's really great to have people like you two that are focused on making sure that childcare providers are accessing the funding that is available to them. I know as a childcare business owner myself, sometimes we're so focused on just like maintaining ratio and licensing requirements and compliance issues and making sure our staff are in the right places at the right times, that we don't really have time for the extra stuff or applying for loans, or we don't even know that these things are available to us. So one of the reasons that I reached out to you, Nekea, and asked you to attend, to help host this webinar actually, is because I saw all of the great information that you were posting on your YouTube channel and on your community pages on social media, that I was like, other people need to know that these things are available to them. It's not hard to do. And if they do find it challenging, that you guys are available, you and Melissa are available to help them through that process, right?
That's our main thing. Our thing was that I know how, like you said, how hard it is for a childcare leader to sit there, work in the business, and try to keep up to date with all the news. It's very hard. So since we have the time now, we focus slowly on that and just give you guys the information, share the information with the childcare industry.
Right. Would you be able to kind of expand on some of the, well, I guess we should probably start with what was originally available this time last year. So April of 2020, the first thing that we saw happen that all business owners within the United States could take advantage of was the Paycheck Protection Program, or what is known as the PPP. So for those of us that are on this webinar or watching the recording that don't know exactly what the PPP is, could you break that down for them like as simply as possible?
Absolutely. The PPP basically is a loan that helps small businesses try to get back on their feet, basically. It can become a grant if you use it correctly. So basically you will have to use it for payroll, which was the main thing, because they wanted the small businesses to be able to pay their employees during this time. So 60% will have to be used on payroll, and the other 40% will have to be used on utilities, rent, mortgage interest, and things of that nature. You can even also use it for our small business childcare. You could use it 100% on payroll and then pay yourself and pay whatever it is that you need to be paid. So I'm really big on the PPP because it's something that you don't have to pay back if you use correctly. I had both already and I was able to get it forgiven. So it's an easy process through the forgiveness loan. And basically that's it when it comes to the PPP.
Yeah, I agree. The forgiveness process was super easy. I was surprised. I think they revised it a couple weeks ago. I got my, just full disclosure, I got my PPP through Chase Bank with my first center. My second center opened after COVID, so we didn't qualify for those types of loans. But my first center, I was super surprised at like how the forgiveness process was super easy, and even the loan application process was easy to do. And now
The change is that now that they're line 7 for small business owners, whoever have a Schedule C, they changed it so drastically because that net profit before wasn't giving a lot of people a huge loan amount. Now you could. So I always advise everyone, even if it's $2,000, $3,000, it's still something. And to just, it's worth it.
yeah, and speaking of that, I've had a few questions on some of my YouTube videos about whether you can get a PPP loan without having a tax ID. Do you know anything about that?
Absolutely. You can use your social security. We have plenty of people. You can use your social security. I want to put this out front because a lot of people think because they don't have an EIN, they can't get it. You could get it because you don't have a business bank account. You still could get it. You could use your personal bank account. So these are things that I notice a lot of people are not applying because they're missing the EIN number or they're missing a business bank account. You could still apply for all that as long as you do your taxes from either 2019 or 2020, and it shows a Schedule C. Basically, you're claiming your business. So you'll be able to apply as long as you have that.
That's great news, especially for some of us that are watching that have home daycare programs specifically. I know a lot of home daycare providers, myself included, when I was a home daycare provider, started out as a sole proprietor. I did not have a tax ID, I did not have a corporation. I was just a sole proprietor with my social security number, and that's it. So it's great to know that you can take advantage of those things without having that corporate structure in place. It seems like it can be intimidating, but to be honest, especially if you have someone like Nekea and Melissa on your side, it would be very simple to take advantage.
And we always go above and beyond. So we always trying again and again. I want to also share this. If you get denied for the first time, that doesn't mean you stop. We had situations that people got denied and we tried a different lender and they got approved. We also had situations that some childcare leaders would tell me, all right, I'm gonna just go to my bank and try my bank. They get denied. We tried again one more time for them and they got approved. So you just keep going. Don't let one denial, two denials stop you. You'll be able, some banks are more lenient than others. So it's just about just continuing and don't give up.
Right. You do not have to go with your own bank. Like there's even like certain like PayPal and can you speak on like those types of other entities that were offering it?
They have PayPal, they have Bluevine, they have SmartBiz. The biggest one right now that we have been using, if you didn't receive both PPPs, Womply. Womply is giving out round 1 and round 2. They're going pretty fast. They're doing a great job, having a lot of success with that. So you will be able to get round 1 and round 2. For those that missed out in round 1, you'll be able to do both right now. So that's the biggest misconception right now, that if I get approved for round 1 right now, will I be able to apply for round 2? You can, but keep in mind that, for instance, if Womply, they don't really ask when it comes to round two, you have to have 25% loss in gross revenue. So if a lender approves you, but then it asks you to show it, you guys got to keep in mind that when it comes time for forgiveness, they will ask you for the 25% gross revenue. If you don't have that loss, then you might have to pay back. So I just want you guys to be mindful of that. When you are applying for round two, you do have to have a 25% gross loss revenue. Okay.
And even if you apply for round two and don't meet that qualification of having a loss, a certain percentage of a loss in your business, can you speak on like the terms of the loan if you don't mind paying it back?
Yeah, if you don't mind paying it back, it's a 1% interest. Yeah, which is awesome. So it's a 1% interest. Most likely you'll be able to use the money as you please because you're gonna pay it back. It's deferred for a year, so that's awesome as well. So either way, if you need it, take it. I advise you to take it for your business. As long as you could grow your business and you make, you use the income to grow your business, it's worth it.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And someone just put a question in the Q&A box, which brings me to bringing that up because I forgot to do that in the beginning. But if you have questions throughout this webinar, definitely utilize the Q&A box that is at the bottom of your screen. Put your questions in there and we'll address those that are relevant to this topic towards the end of this webinar. So within about let's say 20 to 25 minutes from now, we'll get to the questions that are in the Q&A box. And we're also going to be addressing some of the questions. I'm really sorry if you can hear the sirens. Can you hear the sirens, Nekea? Okay. There's so many sirens outside. I live in Philly. But yeah, so we're also going to be addressing the questions that were in the, when you signed up for registration for this webinar. Some of you guys put questions in that. So the ones that are relevant to this topic we'll be addressing. So use the Q&A box. But I would love to also talk about the other portion of this, the government relief for COVID-19. There's PPP and there's also the EIDL or EIDL loans. Could you give a brief summary of what that is and how providers can take advantage of that?
Yes. So right now we have the EIDL grants and we have the EIDL loan. So the EIDL loan currently they are basically in 2020, they were letting people apply for the EIDL loan, which is a loan that you can use for as well as payroll, rent, things of that nature, similar to the PPP. The only thing, the biggest difference is that the EIDL loan is not forgivable. You will have to pay it back. But the great thing about it is that now they just said that if you receive the EIDL loan in 2020, you have 2 years to start paying back the loan. It's a 3.7% interest loan, so it's fairly low. And if you receive the EIDL grant in 2021, you have 18 months to start paying it back, which is amazing as well. But you guys do have to keep in mind that there is interest building up every day still. So if you do want to pay ahead, it's fine, it's good, but there is going to be interest being charged the whole time while we waiting to pay 18 months or 24 months.
Got it. Okay.
I want to share real quick.
Go ahead.
Second,
you said?
EIDL. Can you repeat that?
Did you say you want to share your screen?
No. I'm going to share something with you guys about the EIDL grant. Okay. So the EIDL grant right now, 60% of people been approved and 40% are being denied. But they just came out with the reconsideration. So if you have not received an invitation, you have to be invited to apply for the targeted EIDL loan. You have to email targetedadvance@sba.gov, which has been successful for most of my clients. They email them, and then they ask like what, like, you know, you guys denied me due to blah blah blah, whatever it is, and they actually reply back, and you guys could actually show them proof and provide them that you are in a low income area, because that's one of the terms, but not technically, because I've seen a couple of clients that have been approved and they were in middle income. So I don't want anyone to feel that because they are in a low income area, you cannot apply for the EIDL grant. They are giving it out. That's something that I just found out not so long ago. So I wanted to do a video on it, but it's perfect that I'm on here. And you could, once again, the email is targetedadvance@sba.gov, and you guys could write to them, and they'll be able to respond back to you. And you just ask them, like, I want to know if I'm able to receive the grant. The grant, guys, is $10,000. So if you receive the first grant before, for example, let's say you received $1,000, you could still receive the $9,000. If you receive $5,000, you could receive the $5,000. So basically the grant is worth trying to get it right now while they have the opportunity and the reconsideration up and ready for you guys.
Nice. Is that the same or similar process to, I know, like for me and my childcare program, because normally the SBA with the EIDL loans would do, what is it, 6 months worth of revenue? If it wasn't, yeah. So we tried to go for a reconsideration back in January before this came out. Do you have any information about how this compares to that process, or like, is this what they're offering now easier than like going through the normal reconsideration process?
Yes, it's much more simpler. And another thing I forgot to mention is that the EIDL loan, now they're giving 4 times more of the funding. So those of you that did receive, for example, you, Dani, you did receive the EIDL loan, for example, you would be able to now, they're gonna send you an email that's gonna say, do you want more loan funding? And you could tell them, yeah, right now it's 4 times more than what you received the first time. That nobody hasn't received it as of yet, according to the sources in the SBA. Nobody hasn't received it as of yet, but starting next week, everyone should be receiving an email stating what's the next steps, so we can be able to receive the larger loan. So it's much simpler now. I believe that they made everything much easier for us to be able to receive it. So that's why I'm very big on the EIDL loan, just also for the simple fact that you don't have to pay it back no time soon. So it's great.
I personally am excited to hear that we could possibly be hearing back from them next week. I've been waiting, like checking different discussion threads and my EIDL loan portal and all of that. Like, it's nice to, it's refreshing to hear that, you know, we could possibly be hearing something from them next week.
And if you haven't heard from them, guys, definitely check your junk mail, because a lot of people was receiving it there. And just, if you haven't received it, then you just reach out to them. Once again, the email is targeted advanced. No, that's for the advanced. Let me give you guys the other email. 1 second.
I'll put it in the chat box as you say it. So go ahead.
So for the EIDL grant, it's targeted advance at SBA.gov.
Targeted advance at SBA.gov. Okay.
I'm trying to look for the loan request one. Melissa will look for the loan request one, increase, and I'll send it over to you, Dani, and then you'll be able to.
That's fine. We will definitely send whatever information we can't find or is not shared live during this webinar afterwards when I email you all the replay. But okay, thank you so much for sharing that. I'm personally relieved to know that we could possibly be hearing responses sometime next week.
Well,
We do have a question from someone that says, back in June of 2020, I received the EIDL loan for 20K. I closed my daycare last month. Can I apply for more of the EIDL loan to help me reopen? I also moved out of this space because the rent was too expensive. Will I be penalized for opening in another address as the SBA terms state business cannot relocate from the area? Would you happen to? No.
that's touchy. I guess when it comes to the EIDL loan, what you suggest that she does by that, like relocating, she relocated, because there's one of the things that you're not supposed to do with the loan. I don't know about how would you be penalized. I don't. Yeah, we'll get back to that one. We'll get back to that one, Dani. I'll look more into that one.
What is your email address that I can leave in the chat box for questions that you might not be able to answer right away?
hello@brainiacfinancials.com.
Okay. I just put that in the chat box for everyone to see, and I will certainly leave it in the email video replay after this is over. But I definitely would like to jump into some of the questions that were sent in with people registering, if that's okay with you, Nekea, unless you have something else you want to share before we get into that.
No, I think we could jump right into it. Oh, guys, I do want to share something because I know it's not in the questions. There's a 5K, 5,000 supplemental EIDL grant coming out as well. It should be talked about next week. And they say basically those that got approved for the 10K, which some people, like a good 50-50, already been receiving the 10K. If you got approved for the 10K, most likely you'll be able to qualify for the additional 5K. You have to be in a low income area. They might change it since some of them been receiving in the middle class area. The difference is with this one is that you have to have a 50% gross revenue loss and less than 10 employees. So that should be coming out next week. I'm most likely going to do a video on it, and I'll keep you posted on that. But I just want everyone to be aware that there is another 5K grant coming out from the SBA.
Okay. Oh, and speaking of that, someone in the chat box, Will Marie, wants to know, with the 10K EIDL, can that be, I guess, EIDL grant, can that be forgiven with the 10K?
It's a grant. It's forgiven already. The grants you don't have to pay back.
Okay. While we're in the chat, Raven wants to know, if I'm receiving unemployment and I apply for the PPP, can I pay myself, then start receiving unemployment again?
That's exactly what you do, Raven. You're gonna have to stop unemployment for the moment, use the PPP, and then once you finish with the PPP, you could start back on unemployment because you cannot double dip. You can't pay yourself and receive unemployment at the same time.
Okay, perfect. So going into the questions from those that submitted when they registered, Danique wants to know, my business opened in January. Is there any financial help that I could get with my business, even though I just opened this year? Are any of these basically, that's a question that I also had as well, having opened another center with just a few months ago, not even a year ago, are any of these SBA opportunities available for new businesses?
So they do have other loans that is not shared as much. So the PPP and the EIDL loan is technically for businesses that were already up and running. But there's a SBA Micro Loan that is for smaller business that just started. And you could go online to sba.gov and you could check that out. There is the 7A loan as well. That one I personally just did. It's a little, they ask for a lot of information. but they say it's for new businesses. But I particularly would send everyone to try the SBA Micro Loans because you don't need that much information to receive the loan. The 7A loan is a little bit more for like a business that probably been in at least a year in business.
Got it. Okay. Someone else wants to know, I believe this person is Kature. Please forgive me if I'm not pronouncing your name right. She wants to know, would you have to pay back this loan? And I'm assuming she probably means either the EIDL loan or the PPP loan. Would you have to pay it back? And if so, how much percentage would you have to pay back, if not all?
Okay, so the PPP, once again, if used correctly, guys, if used correctly, if you use it for rent, if you have a censor, you can use it for the rent, mortgage interest, you can use it for utilities, you can use it for payroll. If used correctly and you could show what you're using it for, it could be fully forgiven. You won't have to pay anything back. If you don't use it correctly, you will have to pay it back and the interest will be 1%. When it comes to the EIDL loan, you will have to pay it back. There is rumors, don't like to go with rumors, but there is instances the SBA is always changing. I heard that they saying that they might forgive some of the SBA loan, the EIDL loan. So that will be good, but you will have to show that you was in need of assistance and it played a big part on it. So that's why I do suggest that everyone, even if it's just to help your business a little bit, take the EIDL loan because it might turn out to be eventually forgiven, even if it's a portion of it. And it's also 3.7%, since she did ask, 3.7% interest, the EIDL loan.
3.7% interest for EIDL. Okay. All right.
Those loans is very, like any other loan is very high, like 15%, 16%, 17%. So 3.7% is really, really good. And especially that you don't have to start paying it off until after 18 months.
Right. Okay. Brandy would like to know, if you qualify for the SBA loan, can it be used to move from one location to another, or for renovations or improvement of an already existing business just in a different location? And she also wants to know, can you qualify if you have no employees?
Yes, you could qualify if you have no employees, because yourself, you're always an employee. So we did get a lot of EIDL loans for just self-employed people. When it comes to loans, moving into a new businesses, like expanding, I suggest you guys look into the 7A loan, because right now what they're not sharing is that the 7A loan, the SBA is also paying 6 months for you guys up front. And that's to basically renovate and things of that nature. They give up to 5 million is for working capital, renovations, construction, things of that nature. So the 7A loan is really good for that. The EIDL loan is more strict when it comes to those, and they want it just to grow your business, the one that you have currently.
And we got a lot of questions, so many questions, even in the Q&A box right now, about funding for startups. And so you're saying that the SBA 7A loan might be a good option for those people that are interested in funding for startup businesses to look into the 7A, right?
And the SBA Micro Loan is called.
Okay.
The 7A Micro Loan is for smaller loans, which I suggest if you're just starting to go that route, because it'll be easier to apply for. We are going to start working on helping people with the 7A loans and the SBA Micro Loan. So you guys can always contact me as well, and we'll assist you with that.
I think that's a fantastic idea, because a lot of times as childcare providers, myself included, when I first started in 2014, I had no idea where to go in order to get funding to start up my business. I walked in, at that time I had a personal bank account with Chase. I walked into a Chase branch as a 20-year-old girl with no credit and no savings, and tried to talk to a teller about loans. So having someone like you, Nekea, would have definitely been helpful for me back then. So I think that it's awesome that you guys are considering shifting gears towards, or just adding on that service of like helping providers that don't really know where to turn to get access to those types of startup funding. And just to echo what Nekea said, she mentioned that the 7A loan terms right now, the SBA is paying 6 months of payments, or are they kind of forgiving it, or is it just deferred? You don't have to pay.
Yeah, you have to pay it back like the first 6 months.
Oh wow! So it's not even just like pushed back; it's just gone.
Yeah, they're paying it for you. Which when I found out, that's why I applied. But I also want to share most of the loans that we assist people with. I try them first, and I see what's the steps, and and that's how we are able to help everyone else. So that one I just tried, the 7A loan, and it was, like I said, a little bit confusing. But once you have help and assistance, it'll be easier. And then the micro loan is much easier for you guys if you're just starting.
Yeah, nice. Okay. Janielle in the chat box actually wants to know, are these loans based on credit?
Yes, the EIDL loan is based on credit. The PPP loan is not based on credit. The 7A loan, yes. And the micro loan, I'm not sure. I believe yes. So just the PPP loan is really not based on credit. And at least you have to have like at least let's say 600. The minimum score, your credit score should be at least 600 to get approved for it.
Okay. Okay. Someone else, and I'll keep this person anonymous, says that my company lost money in the last 2 quarters of last year due to an increase in costs for payroll. Our revenue only decreased by 14% each, not 25%. Are we eligible for any help?
So I thought, because I was following the guidelines for the PPP, so I said 25% is max. You have to lose 25% in payroll. I mean, gross income. But I had a couple of clients that went ahead and went to the bank, and they actually was approving them. So that's when I look at it as in between, because then you might get approved for it, but I don't know if it's going to be 100% forgiven, right? Because you might have to pay 25%. But if it was me in that situation and I could get that funding, I would, because my goal is to grow my business at the time. So if I have to, it's only 1%. So if I have to pay it back, it's worth it. Since you are losing right now, the situation that you're in, definitely just try it out and go for it.
Right. Okay. Someone in the Q&A box would like to know, will they use your personal credit or business credit? Can you speak on the difference, if you know?
The EIDL is using your personal credit.
Okay.
They ask you for your social security number.
Okay. Sahar would like to know, does the 7A loan cover expanding from home daycare to center?
Yes, it covers home. It covers any business. It covers any business.
So just to be clear, the 7A loan is not specific to the childcare industry. It's just a business loan that you can get regardless of whether, I think, regardless of whether you have a business currently or not. So if you're looking to grow your business in any way, that's something that you can probably look into and take advantage of. Yeah. Someone else that's anonymous would like to know, in relation to the unemployment question, I guess that we spoke about a couple minutes ago, if I wrote myself a check paying me out in a few weeks, is that okay? Or is there a certain amount of time I need to wait until receiving unemployment again?
No, once your PPP loan is over, you can start right away. As long as you have proof, like you said, you write yourself your checks. Once it's over and the amount is done, you could definitely go back into unemployment because you have your proof once they ask for it. because they will ask for forgiveness.
Okay. All right. Good to know. Um, I think this is Chelsea. Chelsea asked, can someone who hasn't established an LLC or an EIN number apply for this loan? And I think we answered that earlier, just wanted to make sure.
Is it the PPP? Yes. Even actually both, because even the EIDL loan, you can use your social as well.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. That you could get the EIDL loan with just your social. You don't have to have a.
Yeah, a lot of businesses, sole proprietors don't have an EIN, but as long as you can show proof, which is with your taxes eventually, that you are a business and you are claiming your business yearly, you should be fine.
Okay, nice.
By the way, the EIN is free, and you guys could get that literally like in 10 minutes. I could share that with you guys as well. You just go online and get your EIN. It's always good to just show, it shows more of a legitimate business. So it's 2 seconds online and it's free. Don't let no one charge you for that.
Nice, yeah. Latanya wants to know how to apply for the PPP loan specifically. She mentioned that she was denied. She's a home daycare provider with no employees. How do you get help if you don't have the funds? So you mentioned it's very quick for the EIDL loan, but what about the PPP?
Okay, so you would need your 2019 or 2020 taxes, whichever one. You would need a voided check. If you don't have a voided check, which I ran across plenty of people, you will use a bank deposit slip. And you just get that from your bank. So they'll use that in form, in place for the voided check. You would just need your ID and anything else? And your February 2020 bank statement. And that's it. So it's 4 things: ID, February 2020 bank statement, your Schedule C 2019 or 2020, and a void check or the bank deposit slip.
Okay, nice. Will Marie would like to know, she says, I'm a home daycare. More than half of my income dropped in March of 2020. I never applied for, and just to add in, Will Marie, much of our income dropped in March of 2020. You're not alone. I never applied for the PPP loan because it's just me. Do you think it's worth applying?
Absolutely. Let me tell you guys, sole proprietors right now that don't have employees, you guys are getting so much money right now because it's going off of line 7, your gross income, not your net income no more. So the max you could get is 20,000, and I've been seeing a lot of sole proprietors, which is you yourself. You are an employee in your business receiving a lot of funding. So yes, definitely go for it. If you need assistance, we are here to help you.
Nice. And what was your email again? Is hello@brainiacfinancials.com, right?
I also have a community app that I just shared with the people that I work with, and I'm gonna send you I'm gonna actually tell you right now so you could just put it in.
Yeah, I'll put it in the chat.
Yeah. And basically what is going on is that I'm sending to my community right away videos that I do, guys, because I do videos on the grants and PPPs on YouTube. So you guys get that instantly to your phones. Any grants and loans that are coming out, you guys get that instantly to your phone as well. Because I know that as a childcare leader, you guys are so busy. We don't have time to check what someone said, check a video, check anything like that. So I did a little survey and everyone wanted it. So we've been doing that right now. The number is 347
Okay.
647 6894 6894, and you can just text that and you'll be instantly up into the community.
Did you say
receive everything.
Did you say 347-687-6894?
647
647. Okay.
6894.
Got it. Okay, so that's in the chat box now for everyone that's interested. Thank you for sharing that, Nekea.
Yes, I needed something that was getting to everyone quicker, and they could be able to. I'm big with the childcare industry, trying to receive whatever as fast as possible because the big companies take over everything. So I'm just trying to give you guys as much as I could, as fast as I could.
Yes, absolutely. I agree. We have Jasmine that asked earlier, what kinds of financial guidance or assistance, if any, is available for new childcare providers who are in the process of starting up for the first time? Do you have any like words of wisdom for Jasmine or anything?
Definitely the loans that we spoke about, like the 7A and stuff like that. But I suggest that you go to your whatever state you're in, Jasmine. Definitely reach out to even the health department, things of that nature. They always will tell you what's going on right now and how you can get help. There's so much assistance in you guys' state. They just approved, I think it was $34 billion towards state for childcare alone. So we're gonna be receiving a lot of funding in our states. I did a video recently on that that explains more in details, but definitely check your states. Google, figure it out. Just in your state, you will have a lot of help. A lot of people just try to count on your SBAs, but I received tons of help from New York alone as well. So definitely look into your states.
Absolutely. I would agree with that and say that it is super important for you guys to get familiar with who your local child care resource and referral agency is. So my programs are located in Long Island, New York. So our local child care resource and referral agency, or the acronym is CCR&R, is Child Care Council of Nassau. I know with Nekea's program located in the Bronx, there are so many different CCR&Rs within the 5 boroughs of New York City that she has options. But for us, we have, if I'm not mistaken, just 1 or 2, if I'm not mistaken, in Long Island. And I know that our CCR&R, Child Care Council of Nassau, is excellent with providing information about what has been given to the state of New York. And like, for example, with what Nekea is saying about these $30+ billion that has been allocated to childcare specifically throughout the US, a little over 2 billion of that was allocated to the state of New York. And I know that tomorrow, for those of you that are watching this replay or watching us live in the state of New York, tomorrow the Child Care Council of Nassau is doing a live webinar, meeting of some sort, I guess similar to this, discussing what those funds are for and how to allocate, how the state is planning possibly to allocate that to individual providers. So if you're not like on your local CCR&R's email list, that might be something that you want to look into, figure out, see how you can get on that email list, or affiliate yourself with your local CCR&R so that you don't miss out on information like this. I also know that last year, a couple days before COVID was declared a national pandemic, I went to Albany with my local CCR&R and some other providers, the capital of New York, to advocate for higher pay and more money and more funding for childcare within the state of New York. So you have opportunities to be a voice for your, childcare business owners in your community if you affiliate yourself with organizations like this. They're usually nonprofits. I think all of them, if I'm not mistaken, are nonprofits, and you have options to get ahead with information and also give your insight as a local provider. Just
Yeah.
wanted to put that out there, not to stray too far off, Nekea, but I figured that was important.
Trying to get connected with your state and figure out what's out there, because there's a lot of funding, guys, a lot. You just got to know it. You got to do your research. You can't wait for anyone to do it for you. This is your business. You want to grow it. You need to lock in and just figure it out.
Yes, absolutely. I agree. And I see that somebody is asking, where do I look for the information from my state? I think that the first place that you can try to reach out to and look for free is your licensor or your consultant. I know that some states call what you and I, Nekea, call our licensor a consultant, or whoever gives you violations or citations if you're not following the rules outlined for your state. You can reach out to that person that's responsible for overseeing your program and ask them, who is your local child care resource and referral agency, if you don't know. Or you can just simply Google, like, whatever state you're in or whatever county and state that you're in, Google that name and child care resource and referral agency, and something should come up that is applicable to you.
Right. I'm also, like I said, with the app, the community app I have for different states. So once in a while, it's giving different states the grants that are going on right there. So that's also will help as well.
Yes, absolutely. Somebody, Zimin, I hope I'm not mispronouncing your name. Zimin wants to know, just wants updates about the new SBA loan. So I don't know, I don't remember if you went into that a little further in the beginning of this webinar, Nekea, but there has been recent developments with the SBA loan, right? Could you speak on that a little bit?
So what we were saying earlier was that the EIDL loan now they are giving 4 times the amount. Give me 1 second. Let's see if I actually have. So we also are saying that if you received it prior, you'll be able to now ask for a loan increase as well, which we are going to put the email eventually down there. The request, when you guys are requesting for the loan increase, is taking 4 weeks, they're saying. They was telling people it takes 20 days, but try to think of it as 4 to 6 weeks right now. That's what I'm hearing, that they're taking a little longer. But once again, it's going to be coming out next week. When it comes to the EIDL loan, is there anything else that we could share as new right now? That's about it, right? Like, yeah, the difference right now is just mostly the bigger amount that they give it. That's all the difference when it comes to the EIDL loan right now. It's based on your credit. They are giving more money. If you received it before, they're giving you the options to get more income, more funding. That's basically it, guys.
Yeah.
Dani, I want to share something. There is a 10K grant I just found out through KKR. It's for small businesses. So it's a company called KKR. It's a 10K grant. Companies that are eligible are for small business though, but with employees between 5 to 50 employees. You have to make less than 7 million in annual revenue, and you need to show that your business needs funding, most likely like a loss, like PPP, something in that nature. But guys, check out the KKR new grant that's coming out right now. That's something you guys can look into. I could also eventually, I'm gonna do a video on it. I just found out about it today from the source. So that's something new that I will be posting about.
Okay.
As much as we just trying to get it to help our businesses grow.
Absolutely. And it helps, to be one of the first to discover it or, apply for it, especially in the case of the PPP. For those of us that did apply or might remember, back in April of 2020. I was definitely on top of it, refreshing my bank's information page to find out when it was going to be available, because I knew that the money was limited. It was basically first come, first serve. If you qualify and you were early, you get it. So it's really important for you to stay on top of and understand, what's available to you, and if you qualify, and submit your application, even if you're not sure you want to take the money. And maybe that's something else you can speak on. If you get approved for something, you don't necessarily have to take it, right?
You don't necessarily have to accept it. Me personally, I accepted it and it's sitting there just in case right now. So I decided to, you know what, let me take this loan. If I need it, I have my backup. I don't want to wait to the last moment when I need it and now I have to apply and rush. I'd rather have the money sitting there, and when it's time to pay it back, okay, here's your money back if I didn't use it. But definitely, guys, it's always good to have a cushion to fall back on if you need it for your business. And when it comes to the PPP, it's over May 31st. They're saying that 85% of the amount been already allocated. So I advise everyone to get on it as fast as possible, because probably in the middle of May, it might finish versus May 31st if the funds run out.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, let's see. We probably have time for one or two more questions. Again, for those of you that are watching live, you can add your questions into the Q&A box. Someone would like to know about, how you acquired your startup capital. I know you mentioned the SBA loan, and I know that in previous videos, on my YouTube channel, I mentioned how I started with having an investor. But just out of curiosity, Nekea, with your center-based location, how did you start at? Did you save money? Did you go a loan route? Like, what did you do that might be helpful for those wondering?
Yes, I definitely saved money. I had someone that invested, and I also went the loan route. My credit was fairly good, so I was able to apply for a loan and actually paid it off within the year. So that's how I did it. Also, when it comes to, like, let's say the furniture and everything, it was very expensive at first when I first started. So Craigslist was my best friend. I was sitting there purchasing chairs and used stuff at the time. And that's how I started growing my business. And that one lasted for 3.5 years. And then I just expanded to a huger, larger business and continue from there. So I was just tell everyone, you don't have to have 70,000, 60,000. You could start off with little used stuff. You could start off with a small space like you did, Dani, and then grow your center. Go into the center, which is most want.
Yeah, so for all of those that are inquiring, not necessarily about like the EIDL or PPP, and really just want to know how to start out, or financing for that, that's great advice. There's multiple different avenues that you can take. Unfortunately, the COVID-19 relief funding isn't probably something that is for you if you were not in business from February of 2020. But there are different avenues. You can go with the SBA 7A loan that Nekea mentioned. You could partner with an investor, or partner with an actual partner that is, interested in developing the childcare business with you together. Or you could take out a traditional loan with your local bank. There's other options. A few months ago, for those that are wondering, I think it was back in December, I did a webinar with someone who specializes in helping childcare providers, childcare business owners specifically, get access to financing to start or expand their business. That is currently on my YouTube channel, which I will share the link for that webinar replay in the email that I send with this webinar replay, because we got tons of questions about that and credit scores and all of that for startup loans. So maybe that webinar would be more helpful for you.
Speaking on that, we actually have our business credit program, and we actually are working, well, it's already done. We are trying to get, if you have, I believe, like what's the credit score? Like 575, 580, you can receive a business loan. So we're working on that, because I know there's a lot of people that ask me, and I know the qualifications for the SBA sometimes are very strict. So we have a program that now, if you have 580 and above, we are able to try to get you funding, of personal business funding.
Got it. That's good to know. And with that, can you please share, Nekea, because we're pretty much wrapping this up now. We're finished here, but could you tell us where we can find you, what your channel name is, your website, and all of that?
Yes, guys, you can find me. I'm really big on Facebook right now. So Nekea Whitson is on Facebook. Our company is Brainiac Tax. You put it down, Dani? Brainiac Tax on Facebook, and on Instagram is Brainiac Enterprise on Instagram, on IG. My website is brainiactax.com.
Enterprise or enterprises on Instagram?
Enterprise, yes.
Okay.
Enterprise.
So I just put the Instagram and Facebook. Is your Facebook a group, or is it a page, like a like page?
I have the business one, which is a like page, and I have my personal one, which is Nekea Whitson.
Okay.
Personal. That's the one that I really be on mainly. And I have a business credit group. If anyone is interested in building your business credit, we're gonna start doing webinars soon, and that's a lot of childcare in there as well.
Yes, you should definitely do webinars with all the information that you're giving out for free, and like for everyone on YouTube. You can definitely make it a more intimate community with having webinars like this, where people can ask their questions and all of that on Zoom or something like that. I will definitely be in attendance for most of those, Nekea.
For breaking the ice for me.
Well, thank you so much for being here, and thanks to Melissa as well for both of your insight. It was nice meeting you, and I can't wait to have you back in the future.
Absolutely, absolutely, I can't wait. Thank you, Dani.
All right, so email me all the links that you would like to include in the email that I send to our registrants and the viewers that are here live. And for those of you that are watching, thank you so much for being here, and we will see you in the next webinar Wednesday. Bye-bye.
Bye.